Everyone has their own anxieties that they can't deal with seeing in horror movies. Whatever makes your blood run cold, however, whether it's masked killers, vengeful ghosts, or unfeeling monsters, can't hold a candle to one simple scare tactic: silence. That feeling when a horror movie goes quiet puts you on the edge of your seat because you know that means something is coming, and nothing works quite like it. Now, these aren't exclusively silent films, as the title might suggest, just ones that use a lack of sound or even simple withheld dialogue to frighten and mess with viewers, building up to scares or luring you into fake-outs. In any case, when the silence starts to roll in, you know you're far from safe. Better leave the earplugs behind for this one. I am the noisy Ash from What Culture Horror, and these are 10 horror movies that make silence terrifying. 10. Hush. It's fitting that a film called Hush would make it to this list. However, it is for much more than just the name. Mike Flanagan's home invasion film absolutely terrifies with its simple yet effective premise. The main character Maddie must defend herself from a masked man trying to kill her. However, she's completely deaf, which is replicated for the viewer as the sound will dip out from time to time to show us Maddie's perspective in the room. As if watching this stalking isn't creepy enough, depriving the viewer of a sense in extremely tense moments is heart-pounding. This is solidified when we first meet the killer, who just strolls around Maddie's house while she's working and investigates the place without her even noticing, leaving those screaming pantomime lines at the TV to no avail. The lack of sound doesn't take away from the film's atmosphere at any point, instead inviting us to empathise with Maddie in an incredibly intense way. We're forced to play a part of some sick killer's game as he walks around the house trying everything he can to get her, knowing that she can't call out for help. Just make sure you look behind you a little more next time you're home alone. 9. The Descent. Claustrophobia is a common fear, and watching The Descent makes it easy to see why. This Neil Marshall film follows a group of friends who go on an expedition to an uncharted cave and become trapped underground. Getting lost is something we can all relate to, but hopefully not on this level. Alone, this is enough for an effective horror film, with being stuck miles underground an already terrifying experience. It's when the real threat reveals itself that the quiet moments become powerful though. These caves are full of blind humanoid monsters, crawlers, out for blood. The tensest moments come as the friends are hiding from the things and keeping as silent as possible. The fear of seeing one of these monsters lurking in the darkness is enough to put the shivers up anyone. That up-close and personal feeling mixed in with the silence of these underground labyrinths is the stuff of nightmares. 8. The Platform. The platform has a way of using silence to mess with you on a personal level, something that most films struggle to do. Imagine you wake up inside a horizontal prison with people above and below. You can see up and down via the hole in the middle of everyone's cells. Every day, a platform of food is lowered down to each floor, with enough for everyone on every floor, but due to people's greed, it often runs out before reaching the lower floors. Every month, your floor is changed in your sleep, so you could go from stuffing yourself to starving in the matter of one evening. This is the premise of the platform. The characters here don't talk to those above them because they're above them, and don't talk to those below them because they are below them. It is a different type of silence, one entirely self-inflicted by characters trapped in one vicious, cyclical system, and the quiet of the lowest floors bears a weight heavier than most. 7. It Follows. Whenever you're walking somewhere alone at night, you're on high alert, looking over your shoulder, hands in your pockets, just wanting to get home. It's a common feeling that David Robert Mitchell took and ran with. It Follows does exactly what the title suggests. There's something that follows. The follower is a sexually transmitted killer entity that can appear in the form of anyone and slowly stalks its prey until it catches and kills them, and then their previous partners. This leaves the viewer paranoid and anxious. As when any other film would give you a moment to relax, there is no reprieve here. You're forced to scan the background constantly looking for this monster. No one is ever safe. The film is more than aware it causes you this paranoia and will take a full 360 of each location just to mess with you, often in silence, to ramp up to the feeling of something being ready to pounce. The lively teen cast becomes less and less lively, until at later points in the film, scenes are silent as they try to rest before this STK becomes back. Really, they're just playing a sick game of Where's Wally for the rest of their life, and the brooding quiet doesn't make it any more fun. 6. The Strangers. Something about home invasion films just screams good silent horror. This idea of something unwelcome being in your space is enough to leave anyone uneasy. Granted, a bunch of people in masks with axes and such in any situation would leave you uneasy, but that brings us to The Strangers. The Strangers follows a couple recovering from a very awkward evening involving a proposal gone wrong. The two spend their time recovering and trying to fix their relationship in a remote cabin, until they're taunted and attacked by 3 people in masks. From this description, you'd take it as your standard slasher film. But that is where this film really surprises. It seems against using music and sounds to convey its scares, and just uses the act of the titular strangers being there to do the heavy lifting. Some scares you might even miss on your first time watching it. A standout scene is when Kristen is making a drink and one of the strangers is just standing in the back watching her. There's no dramatic music or zoom in, just silence, and that makes this terrifying to watch. 5. A Quiet Place. A film will never make you feel as bad about your cinema snack choices as A Quiet Place, but I guess that's what you should expect from a title like this, really. A Quiet Place follows the world a few months after an alien attack. These monsters only attack things that make noise, so survivors spend life in silence. Lucky for the Abbott family, they already know sign language, and can communicate with each other without the need for sound. As the name suggests, quiet places are safe from these monsters, and therefore silence doesn't have to be a scary thing. Yet still, the film switches between the hearing family members and one who is deaf. Not being able to hear and prepare for sound, and what it attracts, puts her in a wary position in this world, and experiencing what that character is going through all the time is an unnerving feeling. The film's overall dialogue could probably fit into a 5-minute clip, making even simple conversation uncomfortable to hear. This film makes silence and noise both seem dangerous, and that is why it's such an effective horror film. 4. The Woman in Black. James Watkins' film manages to get scares with atmosphere alone. The Woman in Black takes a classic approach to horror, giving us a trip to a haunted house that comes with vague warnings from locals and eerie happenings where things go bump in the night. Daniel Radcliffe's character, Arthur, is completely isolated in this house as he completes his lawyer duties for the deceased owner, leaving long moments of pure silence that build the tension and push audiences to the edge of their seat. The best example of this is a scene of Arthur checking out a noise he hears somewhere in the house. With nothing but a candle, he moves through the house as slowly as possible. The atmosphere begs for something to break this silence, even if it is a scare just to take the tension away. But the scene goes on and on and on. It's agonizing. Being able to scare someone with extraordinarily little is this film's strength, building you up to scares that most of the time don't come. However, the rare occasion they do, you want to jump and run for the hills. Keep your house, lady. I don't want anything to do with it. 3. Don't Breathe. A lot of horror films can involve just fumbling around in the dark with a spooky noise every now and again. However, Don't Breathe has a lot of moments where that is flipped on its head. The film keeps your eyes open and your lips silent the whole way through as you feel what the main cast are feeling in this life or death version of hide and seek. The 3 main characters are planning on breaking into an old blind war veteran's house with plans to steal a load of money that he has stashed. Thinking it would be easy to rob a blind man, they go ahead and get trapped in his home, and the man is now within his rights to kill them and knows exactly how to do it. With the main killer being blind, this makes the film that much more tense as we watch him rampage through the house, narrowly missing the thieves. With his other senses somewhat heightened, it is down to the main 3 to remain as quiet as possible, naturally leading to some very tense scenes. He is trained to kill, and the lack of eyes isn't stopping this man from defending his home. This film really takes your breath away. Too much? 2. Nosferatu. Now, as the title of this list suggests, these are the films that use silence to scare its viewers, and so far there's been no mention of any completely silent films. So let's remedy that by jumping back to 1992 with this symphony of horror. Back in a time when vampires weren't misunderstood teenagers or just people trying to be Bela Lugosi, Count Orlok haunted people's nightmares, with Nosferatu being an unofficial adaptation of the Bram Stoker book we all know so well. This film's real fear comes from long scenes of Orlok staring into the camera, and when mixed with the choppy aged film and grain to the picture, it feels like you picked up some old haunted film that you really shouldn't be watching. The style and lack of dialogue make it feel otherworldly. And that is all before you see the strange warped sets and long shadows that German expressionist films of the time relished. You can thank films like this for most abstract horror, and every Tim Burton film ever. 1. Alien. It's fairly difficult to find a place more silent than the vastness of space. Millions upon millions of miles of mostly nothing is a great setting for a horror film. And of course, standing tall above the rest is Ridley Scott's masterpiece, Alien. Returning from a deep space mining mission, the crew of the Nostromo are heading for Earth when they are sidetracked by what seems to be a distress signal. One thing leads to another, and they accidentally take on an alien that slowly starts to hunt and kill them all one by one. The way this film really gets under your skin is with its setting. The Nostromo feels miles long, and is filled with corridors and tunnels that are largely empty, the perfect setting for this space slasher. With such a small number of people on the ship, this means large areas are completely devoid of life, setting in the knowledge that this alien can jump down from anywhere and snatch or kill without a sound. It is a stark reminder at the very least that in space, no one can hear you scream. And that's our list. What other horror movies effectively use silence for scares? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. I've been Ash over on social media at Ash Millman, and this has been What Culture. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and come back again soon for some more spine-tingling horror content. Thanks for watching.